Absolutely rusted to hell. When they've moved out, they've obviously just broken more stuff.
It comes up, looks like a mouse has had a little go at that. It's ate all the cable.
Right, just found this little beauty. Just popped the switch off while I was looking for the fault on the lighting. I just thought I'd take them off and have a quick look. And we just found that little beauty up there, just taped up in the back of the box. It's alive. It's live. I don't know how it's live, but obviously it's been connected somewhere. So what we'll do, we'll just take this bit of tape off this, and we'll put a Wago on, make it safe. But just another example of when you did your EICRs originally, we try and take off as many switches as we can and sockets within reason, to satisfy curiosity. But you get a vibe from a place as soon as you walk in, and this place, when we walked in here, we just had that vibe of, you know, a few things have been messed about with. You got problems with the sockets, the fuse board's not in great condition, you got an armament that's not been properly terminated, wrong size breakers on the cables, and yeah, so on the report you just write down what you can see. But we didn't pop this switch off at the time. We popped a few off upstairs, we popped a few off downstairs in the kitchen where it was accessible. But it just goes to show, you know, how far you go with the inspections. 100%, and you'll find all sorts. But yeah, just another example of what you can see beside the switch. The other thing I just want to talk to you about is next on the list, which is not going to be a fun one to find, is the upstairs CPC ring main continuity on the earth. The problem we're going to have is these walls were soaking wet with damp. The decorator's painted over it. He's had 3 or 4 coats, but there's just so much damp in the property. So in the actual boxes, the screws are actually rusted in place. So you can imagine they're going to be quite hard to get out. The one in the front room, I do remember getting through to this one here at the time, because we had to move loads of stuff out of the way to even find it. The wall was incredibly wet around it, and the units were right up against it, and that was also causing a lot to retain the moisture. So what we're going to do is we'll start taking them socket fronts off, have a quick look to see what we can see. Hopefully we can come across the fault reasonably quickly, and also I'm going to check the condition of the back boxes and the sockets. It might be even the case, if they are still quite damp, we'll leave the fronts off while the wall dries out. Now they've got the heating back on in place, and they've got some ventilation, so I'll check in with you in just a few minutes and I'll give you an update. Okay, so put a new lamp in this light. So neutral was loose, and we thought that was the original problem. I think it was the original problem. However, just gone upstairs, and I want to show you this here. Because basically, I put the lamp in, checked it with a multimeter, but I checked between the main live and then the neutral. I was just checking the neutral was still working. Didn't check the switch live until I just had a quick look then on the meter and realised we still had no power. But the issue I've just found is up in this loft here. I don't know if you can see, but that conduit comes up, looks like a mouse has had a little go at that. It's ate all the cable, which isn't great. It is live, so I'm gonna have to go and turn that off. And also the cable here, which looks like it's been taped back together at some point. Don't know how or why, or who's had a go at repairing this before, but it's obviously been a bit of an issue. But that's come off. Looks like it's burnt out. There's some damage on the side of the cable there as well. It's looking pretty black and nasty, and it looks like there's another joint inside here. So we need to get this sorted. So what we're gonna have to do is probably cut. I can't renew the cables running down to the switch easily, because, well, it's option A would be renew the cables down to the switch, but the decorator's just patched the whole wall back in. So I think what we might do is chop this box off with the multi-tool, carefully chop around there, not to damage any more cables. We'll turn it off. We'll put a box on top of here, an enclosure, and then run all the cables back into there. Get rid of the breaks out the cable where it's been damaged, and then we'll test the cable out again and make sure we're good. But that's the switch wire going to the landing light, which is why we haven't got any lights on the landing. So yeah, just thought it's just neutral fault. Turns out it was all this. But up here originally, as you can see, there's a lot of loft insulation up here, but they had shed loads of stuff just stacked up on top. You pop your head up here, it was like Christmas stuff slung in everywhere. So I mean, to me that looks like a mouse has had a little nibble, but you don't know if it's been it could just been pulled or something, but I think it's more likely to be a mouse, to be fair. But yeah, you can only do so much on the ICRs when you're looking for them all. You've got, especially when it's an occupied property, you can only do what you can. But we do take a lot of switches and sockets off. But the vibe you got in from this one, as soon as you walked in, they didn't want us here, and we start looking around. There's all sorts of problems.
you just know you're going to be in for a bit of a treat. But I can't believe it's taken nearly a year for them to actually get us back to do the remedials. So yeah, it's just annoying because it's been a long time since we priced this job. We priced it based on last year and what materials were then. They've gone up a little bit, as you know, and also we've increased our rates slightly because of how busy we've been. But yeah, we'll get it all sorted out anyway. But just food for thought. We're going to have to make a few exceptions and add-ons to the estimate we sent across originally because we found a few more issues. Now we've got a full run of the property. But yeah, we'll get it sorted anyway. So we'll catch up with you in just a bit.
Right, this is what I'm talking about with the switch downstairs in the hallway. The landing light's just on here, and that's the loft access. But you can see that's just been run in, and there's a bit of I don't know, a bit of plastic sheathing stripped off and run around the side. It's not the best job, and you can see it's only just within the zone. It runs up just along here, just along there, just to the side, and then the back box in the other room isn't great either. That's been putting it at an angle, but I think we're gonna have to. It's all done all the filling all here ready, so we're gonna have to do a little joint at the top there. Cut that tube back. I think that's gonna be the best option. Cut the tube back and put a maintenance-free joint on. Put it inside an enclosure, and that way at least it's all gonna be safe. But yeah, we'll crack on.
Right, okay, we managed to get that bit of conduit off. It wasn't too bad, to be fair. Just had to take our time with the hacksaw. She's a little mini hacksaw. As you can see, there's no damage or anything. There's a couple of little marks just where I've wiggled the pipe off, because I cut halfway around and wiggled this bit of tube off, the bit of conduit, just to try and get it off. But I didn't want to cut all the way around when I didn't need to, especially on that back edge where I can't really see around there. So yeah, that's fine. We've also got the cables we need to have a look at. I've pulled them back, as you see the insulation. They all look visually fine, as much as I can see. I think the only damage has been around here. So there was crimps and tapes on these cables anyway. So someone's obviously been in here and done a temporary repair of some sorts anyway. Yeah, so we'll get the whisker box. The whisker box is going to go straight on here. I've got a hole in the bottom of it already. That's going to go on top. I'll probably mount it round that way so it goes over the tube, and then we'll bring our cables in the back there. But yeah, we'll crack on and we'll catch up in a minute. Okay, we've put the whisker box up and mounted it up. That tube comes in there nicely, just down the bottom there, sitting pretty much flush with the box. So that's all good because we've got our double insulation on this side here. Cables are a bit tight. So we've had to work with what we've got here, but we just tied it up a little bit, bang some clips on, make it look a bit neater than what it was here before. So we'll get a tester out now and we'll check to see if we've got continuity and everything else at the lights, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, that should solve this problem.
Right, and tester says we're all good, so hopefully we should have some light. There we go, sorted. Fantastic. So we just sort this bathroom light out, we'll put an IP rated one in here, and then we've got the socket faults to sort out upstairs, and then we'll try out the tester. Tell you what, it's not very often you get such nice neighbours. We have got the nicest neighbour next door, cup of tea again, and she even got us a little cake. I mean, fair play. Wish all neighbours were like that. Really considerate. Lovely lady. Lovely lady. People like that, you just want to help and do more for, don't you? But yeah, it really makes a difference for the day. We've got no kettle here. It makes a nice break and a change. Right, okay. We're just trying to find these. Starting to look for the socket faults. So I've just popped one of the sockets off that we couldn't get to last time because I say the furniture was in the way, and it looks like there's probably going to be a few more issues when we start diving into it. But yeah, check this one out. We don't need to worry about earthing the actual socket, because if we just earth that back box, it's absolutely sound, which isn't, yeah. If you're gonna take it the earth somewhere, stick it to the actual socket. Yeah, so we're gonna have to have a look around, pop all these others off and see if we can find them. But I was just looking through the house, and obviously normally these houses around here, they normally have a socket in each room. Normally in a stupid place, and it's all random black cables at the board. However, if we just come up here, obviously it looks like quite a bit has been added in, so that's an add-in. So I'm just hoping that we're not going to have a load of junction boxes under the floors, because that might cause us a bit of an issue. But we'll pop a few more off and see what we got. What I mean, so we've got this socket in that room, which is Jason's that one we've just taken off. This is the original socket by the door. We've got no brown and blue cable in there. and the earth, that was already attached, that was attached into there, but it's so annoying. I mean, I can guarantee we've got this continuity fault, and I bet you it'll be because there's a twisted earth and it's not in the connection properly. You don't twist on these cables. I hate it when people do that. I don't know why people do that. So we'll untwist that. I'll see if we've got any continuity up here yet, and I think we'll have to chase a fault round, but this is what I mean. There's going to be probably these new cables under the junction box somewhere, but we'll catch up in a sec. Pop this to the socket off, the one on this external wall, which we had, I know when last time we moved it out of the way, there was some moisture inside and we dried it out a bit. But I mean, we put new screws in this last time. As you can see, absolutely rusted to hell. Just so much moisture's been on this wall. So that's started to dry out a bit now as well, and the box, it's pretty rusty in there, but I mean it's not too bad. But on the back of the socket, it's all started to corrode and that. So what we'll probably do is we'll just swap that over, put another socket on that, put some new screws in, and we'll keep working our way through in order to try and find out where this high reading is on the earth. Okay, so we've got the socket off on the other side on the upstairs ring, which means we shouldn't have continuity at this socket. So we've got continuity over there. The reading's looking quite good. So I thought, right, we'll come over here and just check on the next socket. So we'll break the ring, and we shouldn't have any continuity because the other circuit, the cables are disconnected in the other socket and it's open. But on the neutrals, nothing. So that's good, because we didn't want continuity on this one. We wanted to check that it's a ring. Nothing. And then on the earth, we've got continuity. So what I'm thinking is, all these extra sockets that have been added in, because it's new colour cables, are going to be a junction box on the floor, and it's probably going to be a spur off the ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on going through just to verify that on a few other sockets, and we'll test it at the board as well, just to make sure. But what I'm probably going to have to do, as long as we've got continuity everywhere and we've got an earth and a live and neutral, whatever, we're going to swap the break from a 32 amp on the ring main and make it as one radial effectively, or split the ring if we can into two separate circuits. So I'm going to probably end up doing that. But I'll just confirm it to get the rest of these sockets off. There's only a few more left to do, and then we'll have a quick check and see where we're at. But I'm pretty sure that these other sockets in the room, the ones that aren't behind the door, are going to be the extras that we're adding in on the new cables on a junction box somewhere. But we'll check back in a minute and I'll give you an update. We're back at the board. So I'm just testing this with meters all zeroed out. We've got 0.31 on the lives. Sorry, 0.31 on the lives. Then you'd expect something on the neutrals very similar, wouldn't you? Which is because it's the same size cable, same length cable, all the joints should be in the same place. We're getting 0.28, so that's pretty close. However, and on the CPCs we've got 0.86, so there's a big difference between there. I'd expect that CPC to be lower, but I know I've just checked upstairs that on the sockets in the bedroom, I was getting a continuity reading on that, and that was a lot higher. That was like 0.87 on the lives and 0.9 on the neutrals, and the earths were a lot higher as well, at 1.2 something. So straight away that I'm testing it from the same point down here, so we should have the same readings, which we haven't. And when we split the ring upstairs to check it on another socket to confirm that the other socket was part of the ring and it should have no continuity, we had a reading on the earths. So it's clearly junction boxes floating about somewhere. I'm pretty sure that these cables from the board are jointed somewhere up below the floor, probably on where the sockets have been added in. So even if I split the ring off, because it's in such a mess, we ain't going to be able to split it off properly, even in the socket. So if we terminated one side into the socket and blanked off the others with some Wagos or whatever, it's still going to have the same problem. We're not going to gain a lot from that. So I think the safest thing to do will be note down on the certificate that we've got this circuit here we've got ring continuity values, but they're not consistent. And we'll reduce that to a 16 amp, protecting all the cables. We'll treat it as a radial effectively, join them all together, and we'll make a little note on the certificate that this first one for the upstairs sockets has been downrated for that reason. So we're going to do that. We'll carry on testing the rest of the board out. I've already got our values right down on a nice piece of cardboard down there.
But yeah, so we'll just have to work our way through and test the rest of it. But this house, as you can tell, it's just been one of them jobs where you get that vibe as you walk in. We're not even through the most of it yet, and we're still finding faults, extra faults, as well as the ones we found originally. So we'll carry on. We'll work our way through the rest of them, keep rectifying as we go, and we should be done shortly. All right, another little add-on just spotted. When they've moved out, they've obviously just broken more stuff. But I mean, it's a year ago since the ICR, but it just goes to show you tenants coming in and out. We've got a broken switch I've just spotted here. It's been, yeah, it's all cracked. So I suppose we'll change that as well while we're here. But it's been left in a bit of a state from obviously when the tenants have moved out, and if there has been issues with the rent or whatever, they've not been too careful looking after the place. But it's just, yeah, it's just annoying. Okay, so we've just been doing the took all the socket fronts off on the downstairs sockets. We've done them ones, done the ones in the corner there around the side. Just put this one back on. Checked them all. The connections were quite loose in a few of them. We got a good few turns on the screwdriver. That spot our readings back more in line. So we're getting 0.09 ohms on the live and neutrals, and the CPC, the earth, is, where is it? 0.23. So yeah, that's within, so that's good. That's what we want to see. It's a lot better than what it was. I think it was 0.7 something. So that's brought it down quite a bit. So we're just gonna get these back to the wall, and then we'll carry on testing. Okay, we've got a few more goodies coming up. I'm trying to find this particular cable and see what it was feeding. Originally it was dabbed into the ring main when it was all energised up previously, and we just assumed it was a socket or something along them lines. So I've just put its own breaker, and I've just gone through my tests and now trying to find out where it is, making sure we've got the sockets, etc. And I can't find it. We've checked everything. I know which each socket's doing what, and the lights are doing what they're doing, and we know everything's separate. I thought it might be an extractor point, but there's no extractor point. Ignition for the hub, we checked that. So yeah, basically what I think we'd rather do is, I've just left this labelled up inside here that it's not connecting, we can't locate it, and that was on the 16. We'll leave that in there just in case we do find, we get a phone call saying something's not on. But I'd rather leave it disconnected in case it's not used and the cable chucked under the floor somewhere, because there's one thing that I thought it might be, and that could be the old immersion heater point, because that's quite a common one. I have located in the room as well, it looks like to be what could have been a cupboard that's been knocked out. Quite often the box room used to find the immersion. As you see here, this could be where the immersion tank used to be. You've got the old showers where it keeps things warm. So I'm guessing there's something under the floor, because everything else in the property is working. There's nothing. I mean, check the loft, check the fan is actually fed from the lighting circuit there, and it is. So yeah, this house just keeps on giving. But also as well, another thing to mention I haven't mentioned already, that the socket circuit has been downrated to a 16 because this was the old cooker point. They've put a double socket on and then come off that in some trunking which feeds underneath there for the hob. So we know it's not the hob, the issue for the hob and cooker, sorry. So yeah, I think we'll just leave that disconnection, play on the safe side, and we've got the RCBO in there just in case we need to put it back in. But yeah, another update for you, we'll carry on. Finally, we are getting somewhere today. This job has just dragged on a little bit for a board swap and a few little bits, you know, but I suppose it's fault finding for you. But yeah, anyway, get back to it. Fuse boards aren't looking nice. We've got the inspection report sticker on. 2022, it feels weird writing that day, and I can't believe it'll be 2027 next time we're back here, supposedly. Multico sticker looking lovely there, little service number, little finishing touch. And we've used the Brother label printout to label up underneath where each circuit is. I think that looks much better than the normal little stickers you get in the kit. Obviously all our warning stickers up there, wiring colours and RCD test. Yeah, also we ran out of the blanks for here. We've normally got the plastic fuse box blanks, but they're out of stock at wholesalers at the moment, so we're just using them. So we'll go upstairs, we'll change the IP fitting over and do the final test on the lighting upstairs. And then I think we're actually going to be nearly finished for the day, thank God. So yeah, testing this one, very tested. Right, the question is what we're going to find up here now we take this off. You know there's going to be connector blocks shoved into the ceiling, don't you? Let's have a look.
to be fair, actually a junction box. Actually a junction box in there. That's going to be a first time of taking a light fitting down like that, and it hasn't just been a load of connector blocks shoved up in there. So fair play. We'll have a quick look at that anyway, and if it's all good, we'll leave it, and we'll clean the light fitting up.
Right then, so finally that job's all complete. What else did it? Yeah, summarise then. So we did the fuse board, fixed a load of faults, a few little issues. That house just kept on giving. Yeah, which from the day we walked in there, we knew we were going to have a few more issues. But upstairs, with a problem with the lighting, cable had been nibbled through by a rodent or a mouse or something, by the looks of it. And obviously we had that neutral fault as well on the lighting, causing the bathroom light to intermittently flicker. And we changed bathroom light for an IP1. That was the most straightforward part of the job, to be honest. The other issues we had with the sockets, a lot of damp when we was doing the ZSs on the sockets. We ended up changing a lot of sockets in the end because we just getting such high readings off it, where all the connections are obviously corroded up inside. So that was a bit of a pain. So we had to cut around where the decorator already painted, and he put some cork around it all. So that was a bit of a nightmare getting that off. But yeah, we did it all. Some jobs go like that, but we have to get through them, don't we? We have to carry on. But next door neighbour, she was absolutely lovely. There's always a positive to every story, isn't there? So yeah, she kept us fed with drinks and cakes and stuff for all day for the few days we've been down there. But yeah, all in all, a good job, interesting one. Found a few faults, and then Cameron's going to be back with us next week, so I'll have a little sidekick back again, which is always nice. Yeah, so all in all, thanks for watching this video. Appreciate your time. We're going to keep making some more. Hopefully the video's looking a bit better than they were originally when we started. We'll get some more footage up for you very shortly. Stay tuned. See you later.